Hey guys, it's Rob. I'm back. We're doing another Offsec Proving Grounds practice machine. This time we're doing a machine called Nukem. It is a Linux box rated as intermediate, and it took me 2 hours, but it would have taken me a lot less if I was a lot less stubborn, because I kept trying to ramrod my privilege escalation method, and I never figured out how to get it to work. I had to switch it up a little bit, and once I did, I immediately was able to root the box. So I probably wasted a good 30 minutes on that. So without further ado, you can see I am on Offsec's VPN, and I do have Nukem spun up, and here's the IP address. The first thing that we did was we ran an mmap scan, service version detection, T4, aggressive on all ports. 22 came back, 80's running is running Apache, and it looks like it's a WordPress blog. 3306 MySQL, 5000 is running some kind of Python web server, it looks like, but the 404 page not found. And then 13,000 is running Nginx, and it just says login v14. And it also looks like there's a weird port for Samba on here that I haven't seen before. So the first thing that I did was I went to the website, and it is as advertised. It is a WordPress blog, so we will be definitely investigating that. 5,000 is in fact page not found. And 13,000 does have this login. Now I tried admin, didn't work. Don't know what this is. Be honest with you, I never even got to this. It never even came into play for me. So the first thing that we did was we ran a couple of scans. The first one I did was a GoBuster scan, and this obviously confirms what we already knew. This is a WordPress blog. So then what I did was I ran a WordPress scan on the WordPress blog. Now, a couple of interesting things came back. The version of WordPress is outdated. We have an outdated theme, and we have a couple of outdated plugins. I've always found looking for plugin exploits is usually the preferred way that Offsec at least does it. So that's what I started with. And I started with the first one in the list, simple file list. And in fact, I did find this one on ExploitDB. It's 48979. There is no related CVE. And this allows for arbitrary file upload, which comes in the form of a PHP reverse shell. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to download this code. We're going to go to the folder. We're going to create a folder called Nukem. Copy the code in there. Then we're going to open it up in Mousepad. And it uses a Python virtual environment, so because of requests. So we're going to have to do that. And then it looks like the reverse shell here is hard-coded. So what we're going to need to do is modify that. Change this to your IP address, 236. And then I think for the port, we'll do 80. Okay, and it looks like it just takes the URL. So we're going to click save on that now that we've changed the hard-coded settings. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open a terminal here, and we're going to create a Python virtual environment, tac-venv for virtual environment module, and .venv is what we're calling it. All right, then we have to install requests. So bin pip install requests. And at this point, we should be able to run the exploit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a listener on 80. We're going to go back to our exploit window. And I'm just going to copy in the command to run the exploit, and I'll explain it. So essentially what we're doing here is we're running the exploit in a Python virtual environment, and we're just pointing it towards the WordPress URL. Okay. Now I've had issues with this exploit where I've had to run it multiple times, so we'll see what happens. Going to hit enter. And it looks like it's working, to be honest. So let's see. And we do. We have a we have a shell. So now we're going to do our Python upgrade to get a shell with job control in it. So copy. And I think what we'll do is we will upgrade the shell to a full TTY if we can. So we'll do Python spawn bin bash. Then we'll export term xterm. And we'll hit Control Z. Then on our Calibox STTY raw tac echo semicolon foreground. And then we'll type reset. And we should have a full TTY shell now. Okay, so we're going to see where we are first of all. We're in PWD, and we are, it looks like the web stuff is in a non-standard directory as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what we got here, ls-ail. Okay, our exploits are here. Simple file list PDF and index.html. Let's back up a directory. Looks like we're in some kind of directories that are controlling what your posts were put up. So let's back up one more directory. Oops, ls, index.php, plugins, themes, uploads. I think we can go, let's do an ls-ail. I think we can go back one more. ls-ail. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. The first file with a WordPress blog that you want to check is wp-config.php because there's probably credentials in that. So let's see what we got there. So let's cat wp tac config.php. All right, let's scroll up. And we do in fact have a password here. Commander Keen, Vorticons, 1990. Let me tell you, this machine brought back some memories. I didn't realize it was called Nukem at first because of Duke Nukem and Commander Keen. These are all obviously old id software programs, the people who came out with Doom. I am unfortunately old enough to remember playing these games, so this machine made me chuckle. So we have a password now. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can go cd home, ls, and there's a commander. So let's see if we can get into commander. ls, let's cat local.txt, and there's the user flag. So now my thought was we have this commander password. Let's see if we can potentially switch users to commander. That's the first thing that I always try with passwords is obviously password use. So this was the WordPress database password. Maybe it's commander's password. So let's see. Let's switch user commander. Let me just copy this password. Copy. Oops, sorry. Let's hit enter. Let's paste the password. And it worked. So we are commander at Nukem. All right, so let's do a PWD. We're in our home directory. Let's do an ls-ail. All right, the first thing I see dosbox and I see VNC, so those are interesting. Let's do some normal Linux enumeration, so history. It's just ours, sudo tac-l. Password for commander, I gotta paste that. Sorry, commander may not run sudo on Nukem. So now we're gonna do search for the files with the SUID set. So let's copy that, let's clear the screen, and let's search for files with the SUID set. Okay, a couple of weird ones here, KSU. DOSBox. That's a weird one. So what I did was I went and I searched. KSU didn't come up, but DOSBox in fact did. And for the SUID, it looks like you can use the mount command and run commands on files within DOSBox. The problem with DOSBox is it's not going to run from the command line. So we need to figure out if there's a way to connect to this machine without that it involves a GUI. Okay, so let's see. We saw there was a VNC directory. What we could do is we could run pspy. Let's see if I have downloads. Let's go to Kali, Tools, pspy. So we'll open a terminal here, and then we will start a Python web server. We'll do it on 80. All right, we'll go back to our foothold. And what we will do is wget http 192.168.45.236, and we're going to grab pspy64. All right, we're going to chmod plus x pspy64, and then we're going to run pspy64. If we don't see anything with this, we'll do some more enumeration on processes and not processes, on listening ports and stuff like that. So let's scroll it back to the top. All right. Reset pi rest flask server.py. That's running as root. Let's see. VNC. Yep, VNC session, Commander 1. I don't know if there's a way to connect to that. We'll have to see what. I didn't see a VNC port running when we did the Nmap scan, so it may be just be available locally. All right, so let's hit Control C, and let's do system socket statistics. And yeah, this is 5901 is definitely VNC. Actually, it even tells you this right here. That VNC is running on the local host. So the only way we're going to be able to get this to work is if we forward that traffic to our machine and then access VNC using our machine as a once the port forwarding is complete. Now the good news is, because we have credentials, this shouldn't be too hard. We should be able to do it with SSH. The alternative obviously is Chisel, but it is a little bit easier to do it with SSH. Hopefully Commander has SSH access. So what we're going to do is we want to forward all the traffic on this machine from 5901 to our machine on 5901. So we're going to open a terminal, and this is the command. We've done it a few times. It's really simple to forward ports with SSH, which is great when you have a password, obviously. So let me copy the password. So what we're doing, SSH, this is local port forwarding, and we want to forward all the traffic on the localhost 5901, which is this machine, to our machine on 5901. Okay? So all the 5901 traffic to our machine, which would be referenced as localhost on 5901. And then you just use Commander at the IP address. So we're going to hit Enter. Oops, sorry. And we're going to say yes. And then we're going to paste in the password. All right, now we're logged in, but the port forwarding should be working, okay? So what we'll do is, I don't think we'll be able to see anything on HTTP, but we'll give it a try. Localhost 5901. We may just get an error message. Yeah. So there's the error message right there. So I think the forwarding of the traffic is working. Now, I couldn't find a VNC viewer on Kali. I thought maybe Ramina was on here. What I ended up doing was installing Tiger VNC viewer. And you can do that very simply. If you need to, it's sudo apt install Tiger VNC. Oops. Sorry about that. Sudo apt install Tiger VNC viewer. And then you just hit enter. And now you should have, if you type Tiger, we have Tiger VNC viewer here. Okay? So, what we should be able to do at this point now is we should be able to use Tiger VNC viewer to access this machine, the GUI for this machine. So we will, we'll be on the desktop, etc. And then we can take advantage of the fact that DOSBox has the SUID set. Okay, so let's give it a try. We'll type Tiger VNC viewer. We want to connect to localhost on 5901. Okay, you're going to need commander's password, obviously. And then we're going to click connect. And it's asking for the password, so we're going to copy that just to make sure that's what we have, copy. And we're going to paste it. And you have to hit Control V, I believe. Yeah. And we're going to click OK. And we do, in fact, reach the desktop of this machine. So I'm just going to maximize that. And now what we can do is we can open up a terminal here, and I'm going to maximize this. And again, we can type sudo. We can type, where is it? Find the files with the SUID set. And if you remember, DOSBox has the SUID set. And if we go back and we look at GTFO bins, we can basically mount the file, the system, and actually manipulate files in the local file system. Now, you don't have to use this L file. You can just reference the file that you want to manipulate right there. So here's where I wasted a crap ton of time. My first thought was to open a terminal, do open SSL, create a new password for password, and get this string. Okay. Now, what I did was I tried to, and I think the issue was that something is not carrying over correctly. I don't know, but I know when I tried to echo it to the password file, because you can have a password in the password file, I had to escape the $signs. Okay, I'll show you what I mean, and I can actually show you. I tried 16 different iterations. So the one I'm going to do here actually is Hacker 16. It's the one where I finally gave up because I just could not get it to work. What was happening is I would enter the string that I wanted to put into the password file. It would enter it because the DOSBox runs with root privileges. I would cat the etc password file and it would be there. And then I'd try to switch to the user. I'd enter the password, and for some reason the shell was jacked up. It would say no such directory bash. Okay, I guess we'll try it here. Now, if we examine this GTFO bins, what we're going to need to do is use this command up to here exactly as is, and you're going to want to do this as well. Otherwise, you'll have to manually exit the DOSBox and then paste what you want here. So what I was doing is, I'll show you. I'll paste in that line that I want to put into the password file. We'll try it. You'll see it won't work, and then I'll show you ultimately what I decided to do. But I probably wasted 30 minutes here. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and I will explain it before I hit enter. So if we use that GTFO bin statement, we're doing DOSBox C mount C, right? And then the command that we're doing is echo, and you can see I've escaped all the $signs, right? And everything looks good. I wonder if maybe the issue is I didn't escape this slash. I don't know. We'll try it. But it did accept the password, so I don't think that that's the case. But we'll see. If that slash shows up, then I think we're good. And then I just used 00 root bin bash, right? And we're echoing it to the etc password file. And then we're exiting the dosbox. So I'm going to hit enter. It says shell redirect output to etc password. So if we cat etc passwd, you can see hacker16 is here. That slash is there. It's fine. It looks like the password's all there, right? Root, and then my shell is bin bash. Now if I try, here's where it just would not work. Switch user, hacker16, password. No such warning, your password will expire in this many days. No such file or directory bash. There's no space or anything like that. I could not get this working. I tried 16 different iterations of trying to get this to work. I just cannot figure out why the bin bash shell is jacked up. And without a shell, you can't log in, right? So even though my password works, even though the user's there, because it's not recognizing the bin bash shell, I can't get in. So what I ended up doing, let's see if we can clear the screen. Yes. What I ended up doing was just adding commander to the sudoers file, okay? And very simply, this is the command for that. It's the same command, we're just changing what we're running in the quotes there. So paste. You can see dosbox C, mount C. We're just echoing commander all equals all, no password all, to the etc sudoers file, and then we're exiting the dosbox, okay? So if we hit enter, right? Now I wonder if we can see it when we do sudo tac L. Yep, no password all. So now all we need to do is sudo switch user, and we're root at Nukem. Now we can cd root ls cat proof.txt, and there's the flag. So this machine, I wasted 30, 35, maybe even longer, 35 minutes just trying to get the password file process working when I should have just gave up and moved on to something else. And I was just being stubborn. I guess I could have also potentially created an SSH key or a public key and authorized key file, and somehow put those in the directory for root, and potentially just SSH'd in as root. But ultimately, I think this was the easiest. I tried to set the SUID on bin bash. That didn't work. So I don't know. The next thing that came to me was the sudoers file. So that's what I ended up doing, and it worked. So I got through it. So the way we took advantage of this machine was we ran an mmap scan. We saw there were a bunch of ports open, but we focused on WordPress. We found that there was a exploit for one of the plugins. I believe it's called Simple File List. We ran that exploit. We were able to get a shell. We did some enumeration, and before we even got to the normal enumeration, we checked out the wp-tac-config.php. We found a password, tried password reuse, and were able to log in as commander and cat out the local flag. We did some more enumeration, and on step 3, we found that dosbox had the SUID set. The problem with dosbox is you can't run it from the command line. It has to be run in the GUI. So we did more enumeration after we ran pspy64 and checked out listing ports and saw that VNC was running on 5901 locally bound. So we forwarded all that traffic using an SSH tunnel to our machine, and we used Tiger VNC to access the box via that forwarded traffic. Once we were on the machine, we tried to inject a line into the password file to create a new user. Unfortunately, the shell just would not be recognized for some reason. So ultimately what we did was we added commander to the sudoers file with basically sudo no password on everything. Another avenue potentially to explore would be SSH keys. I didn't think about that until later, but that might be something you might want to try as well. So, I hope you found this video useful. I hope you learned something. If I used any links, they'll be in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, just want to say hi, drop a comment, love to chat. I do have a Discord server. You can check out the information on my YouTube page. I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.